Welcome everybody. We're going to talk about the status of poker 2021. We're actually live. So if there's any audience feedback, great. If not, we're just going to roll through and do a recap of 2021. All right, so here we are. Where is the state of poker? What is the recap of 2020? Well, three major things dominated. Poker phone apps actually dominate the market, and we'll talk about which ones or which one came out ahead in 2020 and maybe where 2021 will go as far as the phone apps. And you either do know or you don't know about those. And so what I have to say may be interesting for both groups of people. And right now, there are still limited options for US players, about the same as last year, but we'll go over what exists. And the cool thing, Bitcoin adoption, if it wasn't mainstream enough, it's expanding and going more mainstream. And what is the first thing we can talk about here? So, well, let's just go to, where should we start? Let's start here. The first NFL player, how do I get out of your way? Like this? Okay. The first NFL player to be paid in Bitcoin history, Russell Okung, paid $6.5 million of the Panthers' salary. This was on December 29th, by the way. So I'm talking to you guys on January 3rd. Bitcoin's actually gone up since then. I don't know how many percentage, don't quote me. So let's just say it went up significantly. If they actually made that transaction at that time at $6.5 million, that 6.5 million in Bitcoin would be worth significantly more, you know, $7, $8, $9 million perhaps. I don't know. But what I do know is it's January 3rd right now. I can see on this article was a few days ago, last year actually, December 29th. There's been some significant positive fluctuation since then. And so that's a good thing for Bitcoin. Why am I even talking about Bitcoin? Because most, if not all, online legitimate poker sites that do online poker and have software will cash you in and out with Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, which is the preferred method. It's fast, almost instantaneous, usually will not take longer than 24, maybe 48 hours, rarely, but usually and often instantaneous transfers. Most poker sites, ACR especially. So here we are, the 2020 recap. What's something else that happened in 2020 is PayPal adopted it. Talk about Bitcoin going mainstream is, I mean, come on, guys. PayPal is PayPal. So, you know, when PayPal gets on something, your grandma's about to get on it too, if she's not already on it. All right. And if you do or don't pay attention, I mean, this is sort of, I mean, this used to be like covered on ESPN. I mean, it is on ESPN, but you may not have seen it. This is a cardplayer.com article. Cardplayer.com is also a niche industry article. Stoyan Madanziev wins World Series of Poker online and $3.9 million. Cardplayer.com is a very well-known publication. But what is not mentioned in this article is where this was played. Okay, you guys know this is like the largest. I mean, records may have been broken since then. This happened quite a few months ago in 2020, but 3.9 million. That's like the single largest online payout. And I don't know if you're aware. In the past, these things take time. This was made instantaneously via Bitcoin. And what this article doesn't tell you is where this was played, okay, or what platform, what skin. This was won via the GG network. Now, before we move on, let's just look at where Bitcoin is. Let me actually refresh. You can just go to Google Bitcoin price, and Google will tell you. I don't know where they're pulling the information from, but Google will tell you it's worth today, January 3rd, 2021. Bitcoin is worth $33,000. Can you believe that, guys? And this is a value that 1 year ago it was worth about $5,000. I shit you not, guys. December 2019 to be exact. You know, we were coming into, they were just hearing about COVID and yada yada. Bitcoin had dropped to $5,000, and people, it'll never hit $20,000. Here we are, 33,000 and potentially surging. You know, PayPal has adopted it. Your grandma wants to buy some of this new Bitcoin she's been seeing on the news, and now she can because she's already hooked into PayPal. So it's just one more click for your grandma, for you, for anybody. And the market is there. There's apps and more apps. There's existing players and new apps being developed. That market is exciting to think about and even be inside. So here's your prize. I mean, Russell Okung, when he was paid out, this was like, I don't know if it was near 30,000. Yeah, I didn't even know. I mean, I have a little bit of Bitcoin, not enough to get too excited about. But when you have millions of dollars in Bitcoin, oh man, it must be a little bit exciting when your 6 mil turns into 9 mil, perhaps, you know, within a week. But you know, it could fall as well. So this is not any kind of investment advice. Please don't take it as such. This just is what it is. You know, just showing you what you can Google yourself right now. I am actually live, but you most likely will be watching this on a replay. And so let's talk about BetKings. BetKings is what they didn't tell you in the article is that Stoyan Madanziev played via this BetKings skin. And a skin is just a different way to connect to the larger network, which is the GG Poker Network. Now, I should advise everybody, this is not going to work if you're a US player. So I'm only talking to those international players that just so happen to speak English and might be looking at their options. Is that I would advise that GG Poker is the best international option for non-US players. And really like BetKings because the promos that they offer, it's just spectacular. They offer it to everybody. You don't have to play a certain amount. There's a reason that the winner of the World Series of Poker plays on this platform, on this skin of the GG Poker Network. It connects to the same network that you see Daniel Negreanu advertising, yada, yada, yada. And here's an article that they wrote, Stoyan Madanziev 2020 World Series of Poker main event winner. And here's one on ESPN. So it did make ESPN, but it didn't make it like it used to make it in the early 2000s. You know, it used to be on ESPN. You would see it everywhere. You'd be like, oh my God, you know, that's almost $4 million. That's a lot of money. Now it's like, oh, just makes like page 5. No one cares. I mean, like, this is kind of big news. Anyways, I know this is not part of America's Cardroom. I just want to mention it. This is State of Poker. What happened in 2020? Some big records were set and huge waves in the poker kind of world, right? But didn't really hit the mainstream airwaves the way Chris Moneymaker used to, right? It's kind of weird. I don't know. And he only won, what? I say only. I mean, what was it, like $1 million? This guy banks the largest online pay $3.9 million, and it doesn't really make a huge headline. It's kind of weird for me. I mean, it's I think people in the poker world know. Maybe some people in the poker world don't even know. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, great. I mean, love to be informative, whoever I'm informing. Now, poker apps. Okay. I think, look, I didn't do too much research on measuring app downloads and this or that. I just go by, you know, kind of through the grapevine where I play, where people tell me to play. And so I'm sure someone can go out there and do the research. But I would say for 2020, Poker Bros came out ahead. For why? I'm sure there's people smarter than me that did the research and say, well, these were programmers that came from here and they did this and they spent this on marketing. And from a player's perspective, So I kind of just go where the people that I trust tell me to play at. And it evolved from poker. What at the time, like a year ago, was a very, I mean, these things were just getting started. And then there was PP poker, and PP poker still exists, and I'm sure those platforms are still good. And then Poker Bros was like the new kid on the block at the time. And for whatever reason, maybe they had a lot of push on the marketing, because I saw them pushing ads, and they took over the poker phone app market. And what I do see that the Poker Bros had, they made it fun. They instantaneously gave you animated avatars, and they made it fun. It wasn't so structured and rigid. It was the same game, and they just put a different skin on it. And then, so anyways, I think Poker Bros won the 2020 war of the phone apps. And what are phone apps? Well, first of all, how do you play? You download it on your phone, and then what? Then you have to join a private home game, and that's when you have to know someone. Either your friend started a home game, or you start a home game and you invite your friends, and then you say, okay, well, then how do we play for money? Well, technically you're not supposed to, and then whether or not you exchange money between you and your friends, that's up to you. And there's paid features that allow you to get more chips and then grow your club. So that's how those work, and that's why it has to work between friends, because if you are trading money behind the scenes, you don't want to be putting your business out there publicly. And it's really up to you to look at the legality per wherever you're doing it, whatever country or state or city or county even. And I'll leave it at that. The new kid on the block, though, that I've been hearing in the grapevine is X Poker, and the reason there's so much switch back and forth is how friendly they are to the club operators. And I assume, I'm not actively in that market. I just kind of play here and there, but I think from what I hear, a lot of club owners and unions are switching over to X Poker. I have yet to play on there, but I think that's where a mid 2021 update is going to go. It's going to cover what is this X Poker? Is it worth it? Is it everything that we were hearing about? That's where I hear the action is going. And now without further ado, we'll get into the ACR stuff. Okay, I thought this was really interesting. The CEO of ACR. Let me make sure I'm on the right screen here. Yes, we are. We are punched in, and the CEO of ACO shares the public roadmap with the community via Trello board. You can get this. Maybe I'll put a link down below in the description, or you can just get this via ACR's link. I'll do a link to ACR below as well. But I thought that was pretty cool. So the CEO, I don't know if internally they use this or how much they keep it up to date. I don't look at this every day, but you can see what they've released, what they plan on. And so if you're like a super complainer and you really care and you really look, they might be handling something that you really, really care about. And you could save everyone some time if you come here. And so the CEO actively puts projects as cool as this one into place that just kind of helps communication back and forth. So I thought that was really cool. I still think America's Cardroom is, and you can rank things how you want, but I would say overall, as to what the average most person would care about, I think safety would be number one, and that would rank highest. But regardless of what's on your scale, you might rank things differently. I would say ACR is still the best overall place to play. For maybe I'll make a different video on the many different reasons how I would rank things. But this one is obviously just an ACR promo kind of review, so it won't really. You already know I think good things about ACR. I don't need to go into too much detail. And and I think the most important statistic to note is that it's still the biggest online poker room that still accepts U.S. players. And there is the $8 million VENOM. I will update later as to how often. I know they're going to do it more than one time. Last year, I know they did it at least twice, maybe even 3 times, but I don't want to quote that right now, at least twice. So the first one is coming up pretty soon, in just about 2 or 3 weeks on January 22nd, and you can actually win a ticket for free. Now, you're going to have to win a series of free rolls and then kind of double it up. But if all you do is play poker, if you got laid off or whatever, and you just have time to kind of gamble away, you can free roll your way into $8 million. Well, not the actual 8, that's the guarantee. You can free roll your way into $1 million. So the guaranteed first place prize is $1 million. $8 million is the guarantee for the entire prize pool. I think a ticket is something like $2,650. We can, you can dig in, this is public information. You can dig into ACR's website to look at the specifics. That's what it was last year. I don't think the ticket prices have gone up. So we can go into, let's look at some of ACR's other promos, because most people may or may not be interested in going after the biggest prize of the year. That may just seem a little bit out of reach for the average human being. So the good news is that ACR is still the biggest, meaning it's got the most U.S. players playing online at any given moment. So of whatever your options are, ACR is still the most populous, and they've got a lot of promos on their page right here. Now, what's not on here, though, is more interesting, because you can go in here and look at each one of these in more detail. The one that is not displayed is because, you know, they'll put these on here as the time gets closer, but what we do know, since I'm an affiliate, is they do something every year called the OSS, right? And look, there's a lot of promos. I'm just giving you something to look forward to, right? As in, if you don't have a poker room and you're looking for one that's always got something big, and so they're only going to promote what the big promo that's going on. So this one, I don't know when exactly. Well, actually, I think it says right here. It just says it's going to return in 2021. This one ended in August, but this is one of the big yearly promos, and they do things every year. There's some things they do every year. There's some things they don't do every year, but the OSS is something they do every year. They're not advertising it right now, but this is the link to the old page, which they're not publicly advertising, but it's just they've always got a big promotion going on. It's kind of like the supermarket. You always see the supermarket like, oh, it's a sale, and then I'm always like, well, every time I go back, it's a huge sale. When are things not on sale? They're always on sale. It's almost, no, I'm kidding, but I'm not. There's always some big event going on, some big guarantees. Some of these things have gone over the guarantee. I mean, what am I trying to say? Some of them have been under the guarantee, meaning that if you're registered, you have that, what is it called, overlay? I don't know the technical terms. I think that's the right term, overlay, when there's more money because they guaranteed. And so there's been a lot of that in COVID, because you can't really, it's hard to gauge. So a lot of people, so you come out ahead either way, one way or another. One way you get overlay, the other way you hit a big guarantee. So what else do we have? You know, I bet you're interested to see the ACR app itself. Let's look at the ACR app itself and what it looks like. One thing cool that I saw happen in 2020 was the ACR bomb pots. What are bomb pots? Bomb pots are what they sound like. Randomly, they come in and bomb the pots. Now, these only happen in cash games. So it's a way to kind of randomize the game and make things harder for professionals and robots and software, because you don't know when the bomb is coming. You don't know the amount that's coming. It's kind of like a god comes through and splashes the pot, like sprinkle, sprinkle. It's really fun, and it's kind of crazy because the amounts are pretty big. It's something like, I don't know, in the big, it makes a pretty big pot beforehand, and something to care about. And it gets a little crazy. The good thing is that you're not forced to do it. There's certain tables, as you can see, if you look in there, the little icon, I'll put my, these three right here have that little bomb icon with the red dollar mark, so they're clearly designated. These are the $25, $50 blind tables. I don't sit anywhere near those. I play on the micros. Okay, let's be honest. And so those are the bomb pots. And I don't have a lot of experience on those. I think it's very good for the game. It evens the odds. It makes things random. And it puts the gamble back into poker, back into cash games. And I'm looking forward to 2021. 'Cause these were kind of a new offering in 2020. So we don't even have a year's worth of data yet. So looking forward to seeing how the bomb pots play out. Let's look at cash games in general. So on ACR's, this is actually a real screen of ACR's software. If you're not familiar, you navigate through this top tab right here. And so we start out on cash games. So if you start off on the Hold'em tab, no limit, we look at all the limits. Let's say we only want to look at the micro games. So the micro games start at 10 cent, 25 cent. And it lists all the micro games, including the blitz tables. The blitz right now, as you can see, there's a couple blitz tables running. The 5 cent, 10 cent. There's 110 players right here playing 5 cent, 10 cent. I think you can actually buy in for 120 big blinds. So it's 5 cent, 10 cent with $12. So it's 120 max big blind buy-in. And you have 115 players just playing that one cash table game. And so it's a little deceiving how many players there are, because it's listed it as one table, but there's 114 players divided amongst 6 tables just playing that limit of blitz right there. And that's the action you have at the lowest limits. And so you've got a lot of action all the way up to, what did we see earlier? $10, $25, $50, and the rat hole tables, you've got some. This might be the same player sitting, and so that's pretty cool. A lot of cash games going in ACR. Let's look at MTTs or tournaments. How do we get there? Let's go to the tournament tab right here, and what do we have today? We'll just look at all the dollar amounts going, and late reg means there's a certain level of time that you can still register for the tournament, whether you're already aware of this or not. That's and ACR manages this. Some there's like 2-hour late reg, some are 5-hour late reg, and it varies and it depends how big the tournament is. And so we're gonna scroll through here. Let's just say we're gonna look at the high rollers right now, make it easier to scroll through this. Or we'll just say what's the reasonable buy-in that a normal human being could do. Okay, could we do 50? Yeah, we could do like 20, 90, $50 here. So what is in the $50 amount? Let's say we don't want a late reg. So what's registering right now? Well, there's a Big Ten $20,000 guaranteed for a $30 buy-in. That means for $30, they are guaranteeing a $20,000 prize pool. Okay, so how many people have to enter? I'm not going to do the math. If they have, yeah, I'm not going to do the math right now. Maybe I will. So 200 divided by, so something like 600 plus people. Okay, I didn't do the math perfect. So, but they're guaranteeing that. So where else on a nice Sunday afternoon could you be like, all right, I got $30 to blow? What? And Big Ten means this is like a weekly thing that runs. So when you see something like Big Ten, you can expect it to reoccur, whatever that schedule is. So I think this is a recurring weekly $20,000 guaranteed $30 tournament on Sunday, same time, same place. And so they're about consistency, right? I think poker players in general like consistency. So you're like, hey, if I've got a weekly budget of $30, I'm going to put it into this tournament, this 20K weekly Big Ten guaranteed, and my goal is to win it one day. Until I win it, I won't move up stakes. And every week, you know, you save up $30 out of your paycheck. This is your weekly shot at taking it. And I'm just giving you an example. Maybe you want to throw more money into your poker fund. I don't know. I'm just saying this is an example of, this is just one example of one limit. ACR's got, if I click all right here, if I click everything that's available, your head's gonna spin crazy. They have guarantees at every limit, from the cents to the dollars to the highest limits. I can't. I'd rather you just download the free software. You can get started for free. A lot of free bonuses and stuff. Don't even have to put your own money or risk anything to get started. You can play the free rolls for free. And so you can click around, figure it out for yourself. Don't need to spend too much time in there. And we can look at the types of games. They have regular Hold'em, cash games, Omaha Stud, Blitz Poker. You can organize it just by the Blitz Poker tables. Jackpots are pretty cool. Jackpots are kind of what they sound like. You still have to play poker, but it's 3 people. And so you're playing a 3-man tournament. Jackpot, because you might spin your $5 investment into potentially, it says $1 million. That's true. So it is kind of just like buying a lottery ticket and playing poker to win it. So you don't know what that prize is until you sit at the table. It's like rolling the dice. I've known people that have won significant amounts of money in the tens of thousands. So that is a real thing. And your traditional sit and go, they have a casino. I don't want to click through there because I just don't, I never even registered a casino account. That's not even why I'm at ACR, just saying it here so you know that that stuff is there. And that's about it for this video, at least. So just a recap for anyone that may have missed anything that I was talking about, or maybe they just say, Omar, you talk too much. What just needs a kind of a recap. So here's where we're at. I think phone apps, maybe they didn't dominate for 2020, but they sure grew. I don't know how much they grew, but phone apps became a very familiar thing for a lot of people. Willing to just kind of go that route. Because how does it work? Well, you join some club, whether you know a guy or you join some random one. I don't know how you found it. You download some Poker Bros, you look for a club, and you're like, I got into a club. And then how does it work? Well, you transfer money through an agent, and you're like, well, this seems kind of shady, and then when it eventually works, you're like, all right, cool. So there's some pros and cons with using the phone apps. There's some trust involved. There's some gray areas. But it's kind of how poker always has been. When you went to a buddy's house or a friend of a friend, your friend takes you there. And I don't know how kids are playing poker these days. For me, that's when I was a teenager in college. This was late night? No, this was early 2000s. It was like 2001. I think I was 18, 19 years old. Buddy takes me to a buddy's house, and we're playing for chips. I learned poker. The internet comes on at that time, and anyways, I'm rambling at this point. So phone apps, there's some pros and cons. They took a big market share. They're hitting 2021 with huge momentum. Who knows what COVID's going to do? People going to take the vaccine. People still going to be laid off. I think being laid off gives the phone apps a big advantage. People sitting at home, get their unemployment checks. What am I going to do with it? Maybe I'll just take a roll online in my friend's poker club. Who knows where things are going to go, right? Best for U.S. players, I would still say ACR. I'll go over the reasons maybe in another video if we want to go just over, hey, maybe these are reasons why ACR is good, and you can judge for yourself. Best non-U.S. Online poker site, I would say, is GG Poker Network through the BetKing skin. If you're more of a beginner, amateur, recreational player, they have this thing called Fish Buffet. It's a really good promo program for new players. I think I put links below. If not, I'll throw them below at a later date. You can download either ACR or you can download BetKings, which is a GG Poker Network skin. And there we are, Bruce Lee on the Status of Poker 2021. It's actually only January 3rd, beginning of 2021. We'll see if my proclamations come true. But we will do a middle of the year update. Again, I'm not actually Bruce Lee. This is Omar with Club Degen. Look at our other reviews at clubdegen.com. Thanks for hanging in there with us. And we'll be doing more videos, all right? So you can support the channel by liking or subscribing or whatever it is those kids are doing these days. I can't keep up. I'm about that close to starting a TikTok account. I mean, like these kids these days, I can't keep up with them. I'm barely just figuring out this Facebook and Instagram thing, and they want me to do this TikTok thing. I don't know. It's like, you know, I'll tell you what, guys, I started an account. I mean, I've gone as far as to start an account. I've not started consuming content yet, but I'm not saying you'll see me on TikTok. I'm just saying I might be considering it. Okay, signing off, guys. See y'all later. Thanks for tuning in today. That's Status of Poker 2021. If you don't check out the links below, you could just like the channel and I'll call it even.